It is the Pitt Panthers. Now, the writers, they love jumping on a good Pitt bandwagon. The AP has Pitt at number 17. The coaches, they've just had too many bristling with Pat Narduzzi. Too many times where Pat's brought that team in to try to start a fight. They're down at 19. So with this Pitt team, which, Kenny Pickett is truly living up to the expectations of being one of the stars of college football, not someone who he came into the year and said, hey, this is going to be your Heisman Trophy contender. This is going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the game. Well, he delivered on a big stage against Clemson. They were down a couple of their best players, and still that offense was able to get it done. It did look like Clemson's defense just eventually got worn down, just tired of trying to continually give the ball back. DJ Uiagalelei getting benched in that game. So the Pitt Panthers, who are undefeated in conference play and have one loss, a 3-point loss to Western Michigan, in which they had 3 turnovers and 2 turnovers on down, and Kenny Pickett got knocked out of the game. Are we more at the AP or coaches?
Neither. Why are they higher? Why aren't they higher there? Why wouldn't they be up there with Iowa, Ole Miss, Notre Dame in that kind of category, 9, 10, 11? It's because they started too late. If they had started anywhere higher, which they didn't, and I get why they didn't, but how many other teams would go into SEC territory pretty much convincing? Like that game, the score was a little bit deceiving. They were up by 2 touchdowns most of the game. Credit to Tennessee, made the change at quarterback. And I know I can hear a Tennessee fan, well, if we started Hendon Hooker, well, you didn't. So you went to him too late. They still controlled that game. They have dominated almost every other game. They have the most impressive win over Clemson of anybody that's played them, because some of these other teams have eked out wins in overtime and close, ugly games. They actually put up points against Clemson's defense. They do have a Heisman candidate, and I think who is making a really strong case to be the favorite right now. Why wouldn't they be higher? I think this is a brand problem that hopefully they can overcome, and if they keep winning, they will. But the fact they're 17 and 19 in both is kind of ridiculous from what they've accomplished.
Yeah, they should be a top 10 team. I have them 8th this week in my power ratings. I would take them on a neutral field over Oklahoma right now. Now, that probably won't be the case in 3 or 4 weeks, obviously, if Oklahoma gets those defensive backs back right now. But right now, do you think Oklahoma can block Pitt? Do you not think Kenny Pickett would throw for 400 plus on this iteration of the Sooners defense? This is a top 10 team for me right now. Now, they lost to Western Michigan, which is terrible, and Narduzzi's done stuff like this before. But both of there's a lot of teams that have pretty sketchy performances right now in the top 10, in that top 12 area. I think Pitt should be a top 10 team. I do. They've really taken care of business. They have quite a good number of blowouts on their resume as well. They've been dominant. I'm in on them right now.
Coke is such a West Virginia homer in there chiming in that they haven't beat a ranked opponent. While it's true, the wins they have, they've been dominant, as Bud just mentioned.
I think they're right. I'm all in on Pitt, but they have flaws. And all these teams, like Oregon at times looks like it has flaws, and that is a deserving top 10 team. Notre Dame with Hurry Up Jack just all of a sudden found a new gear, but sure, I'll rock with Notre Dame as being appropriately ranked. Kentucky has its own limitations. So I think that Pitt is deserving to be in this conversation. But to Danny's point, the reason why they're on the bottom end of that, good but flawed team tier, of which there are a lot of teams, most of them in the college football rankings and the AP poll are good but flawed teams. I think that for Pitt, defensively, they're not great. You can't run the ball all the time when they need them. But man, Kenny Pickett is one of college football's stars.
All right, and in a year without quarterbacks, what quarterbacks are you really confident over Kenny Pickett? You get one of the premier quarterbacks in granted, one of the worst QB years we've had in a while, but still one of the best quarterbacks in college football, and a very strong defense that does occasionally give up big plays, but then it gets the ball right back, maybe not the way they intended, to that quarterback again.
We had, by the way, shout out to the NFL Happy Hour. I'll be doing at 4:00 after this show on CBS Sports HQ. Ryan Wilson has a mock draft out. I'll ask you guys, because I was a little bit taken aback by this. I think he had 3 quarterbacks in the first round. He had Carson Strong. Who's the best one that I'm forgetting? Oh, Matt Corral in the first round. Then Carson Strong. And then back into the first round, he had Sam Howell, which my question for him when we do the segments would be, where's Kenny Pickett? Because in my mind, Kenny Pickett has overtaken Sam Howell as far as an NFL caliber quarterback this season with his play on the field. Would you guys agree with that? Or would you still take Howell, younger, more upside, but I don't know if there is more upside.
So, I mean, are there any of these quarterbacks you really love? Like Carson Strong, awesome arm, but doesn't move around. Matt Corral, I like Matt Corral. He makes big time throws. I will say, is there any quarterback you like that has come out of the Baylor or Baylor-centric system? Because that's what they're running at Ole Miss. It's pretty similar. And they have all flopped in the NFL. So, like, how much of this is that? And how much of this is Corral? And I've seen Corral in high school run, and I know he can make big time throws. So maybe he's the first breakout guy. But we've seen everybody else put up Mickey Mouse numbers in that thing too. And when we get to the NFL, they flop. I mean, Pickett runs some stuff that is fairly NFL-esque at Pitt. We know Mark Whipple, like, is maybe not a great head coach, but he made really bad quarterbacks at Miami do some okay stuff, and he's done a nice job there at Pitt. I know I'm kind of rambling here. I agree with you, Dan.
Don't worry.
He's not bad.
Yeah. Pickett. I would take Pickett over Sam Howell. That's the trajectory is not always going to be linear, and there's going to be some ups and downs. But I think the junior season for Sam Howell is concerning. It is a red flag and an evaluation to have the performance drop off. There's lots of context for it, but Kenny Pickett is playing better, will be more deserving of all those all ACC quarterback accolades. And
he is old, though, I will say.
But from the NFL side, I don't know. I think I would rather have Kenny Pickett than Sam Howell. Sam Howell's got some work to do